Golden Knights having great success so far this year. Does that put any pressure on you guys to succeed?
Who are the Golden Knights? No, only pressure is that the sniping of people saying you got to do as good as them.
It's just good. Vegas is treating us well, and I think the record doesn't show how hard that we work, and it's tough in that way, but it's good for us in the inner circle to understand what we have going on in Vegas, and if we just continue to trust and believe in each other, the sky's the limit for this team, and I'm blessed to be a part of it.
Our expectations maybe at the start of the season were a little unrealistic.
Man, we're not even worrying about the playoffs right now. What we do is we take it week by week. We gotta worry about next week. You start looking ahead and you start looking over people, you might not even make it. So
that being said, to me, Urban Meyer is one of the lowest pieces of garbage there is on this earth.
You are tuned in to Straight Bet Sports live on the Gorilla Cross Radio Network.
Oh, you can't hear me? Hey, there we go.
There we go.
It's all good, man. What's going on? Jose V, Straight Bet Sports. You already know what it is. You are tuned in live here on the Gorilla Cross Radio Network. We are coming to you live from downtown Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm excited, man. I'm happy. We got a great show on tap for you guys tonight. We got a return guest. Been on the show a bunch of times. Good friend of mine, good friend of Ian's, good friend of a lot of us on Twitter, on the Twitter world. If you know me and you know Ian, we live on Twitter, man. That's the biggest social media platform that we use. But we also got a last-minute guest that's going to join us midway through the show, which is pretty cool. We've been trying to get him on the show. He didn't have to do his coach's show today. I'll give you a little hint there, so you probably already know who I'm talking about. But we got a great show lined up for you guys today, man. Jose V, Ian B is back in the studio. My co-host, my compadre, my everything, my sidekick. You know what I mean, here on the show. I appreciate you, man. It's been, what, 2 weeks? You were out? You missed the Paloma show?
Yeah, 2 weeks, but there's a gap in between, so it's really like 3 weeks.
Yeah, because you missed Camden's.
Yeah.
So you missed 3 weeks there.
Is it 3 weeks straight?
Yeah, so you missed Camden's, you missed Paloma show, and then you missed the one that me and Chris did with Coach.
I was here with Paloma.
So you're right. You missed Camden, Coach, and then me and Chris did it by ourselves last week. But you know what, man? It's all good. It's all well. You're back in the studio. You're doing good.
Sir.
Quan 59 behind the studio, behind the cameras, doing what he does for us every single week, man. Here, you know what it is. Drop that like, drop that comment, press that share. We will go from there. Let everyone know what it is that you are tuned into tonight. If you have not already done so, download the Gorilla Cross Radio app. 702-608-3259 is also the number to call if you want to give us a call. Let's try to keep it with the topics that we're talking about, though, if you do give us a call. Let's not get off topic. Let's keep it about the conversation that's going on. So, like I said, we do have a guest on the show tonight, but before we get into it with our guest tonight, talk some NFL, talk some Major League Baseball, because your Phillies are also in the World Series, bro, which my Yankees are done. I get that, but I'm excited to see your Phillies in it. But before
I said
calmado. Let me get into what I gotta finish here, and then we can definitely finish everything up. But look, I forget every week, so we're just gonna do it from the get-go. Our guy, the one and only Eric Navarro, he's the one that sponsors our weekly picks here on the show, right? Which right now, Ian's a bit behind, but he can catch up. But he's the one and only Eric Navarro, man, of Line 'em Up by Eric. 702-884-8138, as you see there on the screen. If not, hit him up on IG. He posts all of his haircuts on his story and on his page, so you can see what he does and how his haircuts come out at Line 'em Up by Eric right there on IG. And if not, download the Booksy app. That's how you can download the app and set up your appointments confidence with Eric. It's easy. I do it all the time. I already set up for one for my son. I chopped off the hair, man. I don't have my hat on. I don't have my hat off, so you can't see it. You're used to seeing me with the hair, man. But you know what? I'm excited. Let's go ahead and jump into it with our guest today, man. He is none other than Sosa, the locksmith of the Wise Guys Diamond Club.
How's it going, Sosa?
Daily Bread Media. I mean, I don't know what else to say, bro. I think you're involved in like 30,000 podcasts now. I mean, you might be part of TMZ here shortly, TMZ Sports. I mean, geez, who knows, man? But I appreciate you chilling on the couch with us tonight, man, and just chopping it up and talking some sports. Got to have you on the show because we got a lot of NFL to talk. We're halfway through the season. Your Niners are not doing too good, but they're also not in a bad position, if we're being honest. Because if you look at the division, you look at where you guys at record-wise and everything. Calmado. Let me finish. Let me say what I'm saying. Sosa's probably saying too. Ian, chill out. I know you got the Eagles gear on and everything, but my guy Sosa, how you doing, my man? Everything good out there on the East Coast with you?
I'm feeling great, man. You know, you said we don't look good. I mean, one game behind the division leaders, Seattle Seahawks.
Just because the rest of the division is bad doesn't mean you're good, though.
Let them talk, bro. Let them talk.
Back and forth, bro. We're fine. The defense had one game. You got Patrick Mahomes off a loss. Obviously, adding Christian McCaffrey to the mix, another weapon. Obviously, without the big arm or the mobility, you want to put as many weapons around a quarterback that's limited as you possibly can. You know, kind of like how the Eagles did it with Jalen Hurts. You know, they put just an amazing amount of talent around him, knowing that there are direct flaws to his game.
So what has been your biggest surprise, bro, so far from your team? Obviously, we understand the injuries. We get that. You know what I mean? We get everything else that's out there, but what has been your biggest surprise aside from that? Anything that you've seen that maybe people don't talk about?
Nothing's really surprised me. To be totally honest with you guys. We lost 6 games last year. We didn't go undefeated. No NFL team went undefeated. You know, nobody ran the table. There are going to be games that you lose. There are going to be instances in games that you should have won that you lose. The game against Atlanta, we looked very unimpressive. We were missing about 5 starters on defense. Arthur Smith, who I'm extremely high on. I don't know if you guys have checked out some of my podcast stuff. Like I was on the Arthur Smith train when he got hired. And this is what I said when he got hired. He'll never be fired because he's a leader of men and understands how to motivate grown men. It takes a different level of understanding to really do that. So losing to Arthur Smith, not mad. Yeah, there are things that we can that could be better, like the lack of creativity offensively. Kansas City was able to really use our over aggressiveness against us on Sunday. They ran a lot of misdirection runs. They hit a couple of intermediate to big passes. But it's not like there's no reason to panic. You know, like I think it was like 14 of the teams in the NFC are 3 and 4 or better, which is 1 game out of a wild card spot. So it's parity. It's seven weeks in. Everything's going to come down to the very last couple of weeks of the season, like it always does. There are going to be 12 teams that could make a playoff spot come week 16 or 17, like there always is. And that the fray will eventually work itself out. You just got to hope that you're not in a situation where a loss to the Chicago Bears in week 1 cost you the season, because that's when you look back on, damn, they lost to this team. And that could have been the game that cost them to get into the playoffs. You know, like Carson Wentz missing 1 game last year due to COVID because he would get vaccinated, and then having to beat the Jaguars in the last game of the season. If he doesn't miss that game earlier in the season, probably doesn't even have to play week 18.
He probably loses the first game too. So.
Right. Well, who knows? I love how Eagles fans are about him now, but
hey, for the last 2 years we've been right though. So every team that acquires Wentz has this newfound apparent respect for Wentz, even though that they trash him throughout the league. And every year, at the end of the year, they say, "You know what, Eagles fans, you were right. He is garbage."
Were you right, Ian? Though.
Yeah.
Every year, you're right. Every year.
He's garbage. I have nothing good to say about him because I tried to mirror all this stuff like, his numbers weren't bad. He went 27-7 touchdowns to interceptions. But I mean, there's no defending Carson Wentz at this particular juncture of his career. He's not good anymore. Yeah, like he had a short little run. He just isn't. Decision making bad, everything.
He's terrible, bro. And it kind of reminds me of what I saw in that game for Washington with Tyler Heineke being in there is you saw a difference in momentum, a difference in change in the way that the team, the offense basically flowed with him. I'm not saying that the guy looked like a freaking Pro Bowl or anything like that. But if you look at the way that the offense stepped up with him and how comfortable they looked and how it looked like they were out there just playing ball, that's the same thing you saw. Even though the Patriots lost that game to the Bears, it's the same thing you saw as soon as Bailey Zappi came in with the Patriots.
Yep.
So I know I jokingly said it a few weeks ago and you weren't here. I said quarterback controversy, and then last week I said New England, you do have one, and then they ended up naming Mac Jones a starter. Bro, like I know Heineke is not the big name, but at this point, he's proven that he can do enough to try to help this team win and that they can win under him. At this point, get rid of Carson Wentz, bro. I'm not saying you trade him because nobody's gonna probably want him right now. But bro, bench the guy just like Matt Ryan got benched in the
injured
Colts,
again,
bro.
so he's out for 6 weeks anyways. So
I get that,
I mean,
but
that's
after
almost
that,
the entire year. Yeah, no, I agree. Don't
after
bring
that,
him back after
why
that.
even bring him that? Why even bring him back at that point? So I don't know. I want to see more of Tyler Heineke. I like what I'm seeing from Tyler Zappi. We heard that name for Bailey Zappi. We heard that name first from our guy Mike Davis, but watching him, seeing what he did in college, bro, and what he can do now and how comfortable he is, I don't know, man. I think Mac Jones' job is in trouble there. But when it comes to the rankings, bro, I want to get both of your thoughts. PFT, what is it? Pro Football Talk. Through week 8.
Yeah.
Top 16 rankings. We're not going to talk about the bottom 16.
Okay.
Top 16 starts with your Niners, Sosa at 16. Chargers 15, Bucks, Pack, Dolphins, Seahawks, Bengals, Titans, Ravens, the freaking surprise team out of all, which is going to make me get a tattoo here soon, the New York Football Jets, the Minnesota Vikings, the New York Giants, the Dallas Cowboys, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Buffalo Bills, and the Philadelphia Eagles. Bro, you're drenched up in Philadelphia green and the Eagles over here. I disagree with the top 2. I hate to say it because I'm a Jets fan, but if I'm being a real fan of football and what's out there and what we're looking at statistically and the way these teams have played and who they've played, I think the Bills are the better team. I know the Bills have the loss, but I don't look at the record. You can't just look at a 6-0 record and go, this team is the best team in the league because of that. The Eagles are a great team. But if I'm being honest and we're doing the 1-2, I would have to flip it. Give me the Bills. I don't know how both of you feel about that.
So right now, I think the Eagles are a more complete team, and mostly that has to do with injuries, knock on wood. The Eagles are relatively healthy, whereas the Bills' secondary has been kind of devastated by injuries, and it's kind of showing up, right? People aren't just not able to score anymore. They're putting up a little bit more points on the Bills. So I think in terms of complete team, both defense and offense, I do think that the Eagles are a better team.
What you think, Sosa?
Man, listen.
Man.
Easily the most talented team across the board in professional football.
The Eagles?
The Eagles are the most talented team in the NFL. I mean, they have a star-studded offensive line. They got 3 running backs. They got a really good tight end. They got 2-1 receivers. They got guys that can take the top off. They got guys that can run routes. They got D-line. The only place you could say maybe they have an issue is at the linebacker position. They have defensive backs that play tough, that will tackle. They got defensive backs that are locked down. Slay's having an All-Pro year, but Bradbury's not far behind. He's having an amazing season.
I say they're
Gardner
both right
Johnson
now.
is like the perfect fit to go with what they do. He can play center field. He wants to get paid as a safety. He's going to get paid as a safety because Philadelphia has a ton of money to still spend. I saw Roquan Smith crying today when Robert Quinn got traded to the Eagles.
Yes, yeah.
The Eagles are probably just going to sign him in the offseason. Like, we'll just go get him too.
Yeah.
Like,
we have the second most cap space in the entire NFL.
And they're absolutely loaded.
Quan's like, woo!
I mean, I'm sick about it, bro. I'm sickened by it because, and they're going to get Jalen Hurts on an extension at like a super cheap contract.
And then we also have the Saints top pick.
He's going to take like $15 million a year less than all of the top guys. And I mean, barring him winning a Super Bowl, if he wins a Super Bowl, then it changes, right? Like, if you win a Super Bowl, everything changes with the money situation. You're gonna have to easily 45.
Even if he gets to a Super Bowl and don't win it, I mean, that paycheck is going to skyrocket,
I think
bro.
we're going. So what's coming now is that we're actually looking for so far this season, if he keeps it up, we're looking to extend him in the offseason this year instead of like really letting it play out anyways, no matter like what the true end result. It's based off, I think, individually how he does. And the Eagles typically do that. If you look at most of our star contracts, usually we try to do it a year or two way before the market shifts, and we can get them at a slightly discounted value. Howie is definitely Howie and Joe Douglas, I'd say, are probably shoo-ins for voting for Executive of the Year. I would think.
I don't look at the whole executive thing and all that, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm sorry. I know Sosa's probably got a thought on it, but I don't look at all that, to be honest with you, because I don't get into that deep when it comes to the executives and who are doing what. But, I mean, if I'm just looking at what's on the field right now and what they've done and how they've slowly created that team, and a lot of people had doubts in Jalen Hurts. Let's be honest, bro. You and I both talked about that when we had Mike on the show last year. It was, is Jalen Hurts really the guy? I don't know. We joked about we're going to get you a jersey. You know what I mean? Like, but look at him now. He's doing what he has to do on his side with the numbers. His numbers are great. He's not making mistakes. He's doing what he has to do to win that game, to win the games. Not only that, this team is following him, bro.
Yeah.
This team is
You look
him.
at the victory speeches and even like just the between the week speeches from Jalen and the way that locker room respects and listens to him. Definitely that. I mean, that has to be one of his, if not his absolute superstar quality. And why you would pay him is his leadership is off the books, man.
Once again, we got Sosa the Locksmith joining us here live on Straight Bet Sports on the Gorilla Cross Radio Network. If you haven't already done so, GorillaCross.com. Check it out. If not, download the Gorilla Cross app today on all platforms, Android, Apple, whatever you got. It's free. Download it today. Check out all the content that they have there on the website, not just our content. Guys, now, obviously, we already know who we believe the best team in the league is. Obviously, we're talking about overall contender. Who could it be? Who could be the winner or not? But there's a lot of controversy in a lot of different places and a lot of things going on, right? Obviously, the whole Tom Brady thing with the Bucs, which is very interesting to hear. One thing I wanted to throw out, and this is a curveball because I didn't mention this to neither of you guys, and I saw a video. I don't know how old or how young this video is, but did you guys see the video about Lindell White?
No.
Did you see the Lindell?
Yeah, 150K on the match.
Bro.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen it, so he was on a podcast, right?
Yeah.
And they're interviewing him. It's a video and everything. And he's talking about being in college. And he goes, man, I never listened to coaches or this, that. I didn't know who coaches were, or I never knew a coach or whatever. None of that. He said that he got home to his apartment or wherever it was, the house, right? He's like, I don't know who lived there before. He's like, but they must have left it there. So I got home one day, 150K, all in bands. You know what I mean? Like, so this just opens up, bro. This opens up Pandora's box because this dude hasn't played in a minute, right?
Yeah.
But when he played, it was all supposed to be, you can't do this. He's
yeah.
like, I don't know what a booster is. I don't know what a coach is. That's what he kept saying. He's like, I don't really know what any of that.
Just 150,000 just
he
showed
was
up in his apartment and
Sosa,
he didn't
what
ask
car was
questions.
he driving? He said a Mercedes or something?
He said,
listen.
Freshman year was driving a Lexus GS 400, which at the time, if you know, at that time was like a big deal. That's a big deal. He said he walked into his condo, which was in downtown LA. Like I lived in LA.
Nice part of LA.
If you have a condo in downtown LA, that's like
Yeah.
4,000 or 5,000 for like a one bedroom. All right, like no college students paying for that at
None.
all. That's not no student housing. He said he walked in the condo. Was 150,000 all in rubber bands in a bag, and he kept it, never gave it back. Listen, bro, it's gonna come out of the woodwork. Listen, if y'all have seen the Pony Express, right, with like Craig Sager and was it Craig? Yeah, Craig. It wasn't Sager. Craig James. Craig Sager, rest in peace. Wrong person. Craig James and Eric Dickerson when they were at SMU and like. You know, they parked the car out front of Eric Dickerson's house and just left the keys in the car. And this is like way back, you know, like this is like these oil millionaires that have so much money. I mean, Eric Dickerson had no reason going to SMU. Like, let's be serious here. Like come on. Like he didn't go there because he liked the campus.
Yeah.
You know, it's not because they treated him nice. They just gave him more than anybody else.
So here's the thing. My question, the reason I brought this up, one, because I knew Sosa was going to know about that video. I don't know if you knew about it, but I knew Sosa was. But do you think that this is going to bring out a lot more athletes, bro, from back in the day? Like, still in our era, right? But back in the day type, if you know what I mean, that are still relevant enough that are going to start coming out that did get money because of all the NIL deals and all the crap that's going on now?
Absolutely. What's going to happen now is you're going to see a large faction of athletes come out and say this, because what they want to do is they want to stick it to the NCAA for what they've done to Reggie Bush. Reggie Bush is beloved, and if you notice, the one thing about Reggie that he's done that's really smart, he's always had a really clean image. Now he's on TV every week. You don't think that now he's on TV, he's doing national commercials, and he's doing it right in the backyard of USC. You think that's not by coincidence? He works for Fox. He's doing it in LA. He's a star.
And he's been very vocal about that slight.
Faces without a helmet. He knows what he's doing. And all these guys are. You even see him with the Wendy's commercial. Something was taken from Reggie Bush. Like, bro, it's so obvious, right? But again, I think that a lot of guys are. That's why.
Yeah.
Because two athletes of our lifetime that really got scrutinized for taking money was Chris Webber, who should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer, but wasn't a first ballot Hall of Famer because nerds are the ones that vote on it. and Reggie Bush. Like they lost all of their college stuff because of stuff that now is completely legal. And it's very important now for those athletes to do this, to point out the greed of the NCAA, right? Like that's really what it boiled down to, is that the NCAA knew this was happening. They knew it was happening. They just turned a blind eye, or they just scrutinized certain teams if they were extremely egregious with it, like SMU, like when they hit them with the death penalty. No, there was no way around it. They were just so blatant in what they were doing, right? Now you saw it. You're seeing it with Texas A&M. I mean, they have billions in oil money. Like they can do whatever they want at Texas A&M, whatever they want. They can offer kids the world and really give it to them. So yeah, it's important that these athletes who were getting paid, who we all know were getting paid, actually let the world know, yeah, we were getting paid. We were. What are you going to do to me now? Nothing. I haven't been to school for 20 years. What are you going to take my name out of the books?
It's gonna open up a lot of freaking worms, a lot of cans.
There's always plausible deniability. Like they can just say they're lying. It's that easy. I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Talking about getting cut off and losing things and probably not being a part of things real quick. Sosa, before we get you going here in a little bit, because I know we're only going to have you on for a half part of the show, we're going to get your picks of the week, because last time you were on the show, you gave us technically two, right? You gave us one, but technically two. You gave us the Bengals to beat the Jets, but then you said take the alternate spread, which was easy to cover. So don't give us your pick of the week yet. Keep that boiling. Keep that in the oven there. Keep it nice and warm for us, because our pick of the week technically is still undefeated for our guests. So I want you to keep that going. But I wanted to switch it up today and switch up topics before we go with Sosa, because I know this is something that Sosa can speak about. Maybe Quano even get involved in this conversation. Who knows? Speaking of being able or not being able to say certain things, Kanye West, if you guys saw the podcast with the video, comes out and says, I can say anti-Semitic, you know what? And Adidas won't get rid of me, or whatever it might have been. He said at the end, I don't know the exact words. I don't want to quote him, but you know what I mean. A few days later, the video comes out. Adidas cuts ties with everything. Now they own everything Yeezy related when it comes to the shoes, the patent, the colors, whatever they want to do moving forward. Now, is this just Yeezy putting his foot in his mouth and showing people that he really don't know what the hell he's talking about and he's going crazy? Or is it just, hey, he lost a sponsor, which it happens. Some people say things that they say, and it is what it is, and they can move on, they can move forward. Maybe he'll grow from this and he'd be even bigger and get bigger sponsors. Or is this really going to hurt him? Because he's going to lose a lot of money, my guy. I wanted to hear from you first, Sosa.
Man, listen, I can't really comment on a lot of the stuff. It's just very, very, very sensitive conversation that I think is very hard to have on like any sort of like public platform or just arena. There's just so much to unpack in regards to what was said in an interview where people were drinking and all those other things. yeah, I mean, certain things you can't say and certain things you just stay away from, and that's what I'm gonna do right now. As
I like.
like it's just it's just a very sensitive subject, right? 'Cause,
I
like,
know, and that's
I'm
why
a, listen,
I
I'm
want
a
to see what you were
and
saying.
listen, I will never jump out the window for any celebrity. That's not my thing. That's not my thing at all. I
Bro,
can't do that.
Ian,
So
this is like
it's just
I can't so here's the thing, because I respect Sosa, but this is like when I asked him if he wanted to talk about the Deshaun Watson situations. He's like, nope. I zip.
Yeah.
I will speak away from the mic, but I will not speak on the mic or the
All right,
camera.
so-
So I get it. So I understand where you're coming
I
from.
listened to College Dropout today. It's as amazing as the first day I listened to it.
Quan, if any chance you could put that album, that'd be amazing. If you have the College Dropout, any of the songs on it, I would appreciate you.
It is. I still.
But look, okay. So putting it straight and sweet though, just real quick. Do you think that him losing this deal is going to hurt him or help him, or just neutral?
In the short term, in the short term, there's no win.
Okay.
In the short term, because the public backlash is just it's so fresh, it's so dynamic, and it's so open that there's no escaping it. So that, like, in my opinion, it's obviously in the short term, it's going to definitely hurt him. But there's this thing in this world called influence, and few have it, and few know the power of it. And I think he understands both. And I think that whether we believe in calculation of speaking or calculation of speech, or if we think that person has said something that's offensive or disrespectful, it gives us an opportunity to educate ourselves more on the situation and why whom is offended and why it's not an intelligent decision to say certain things. So yeah, I think that's about as
clear cut as you can get.
As cut as an answer as I can get. I mean, people, bro, influence is one thing. You cannot acquire it overnight.
Yeah.
And it doesn't go away in a day. Okay. So just like any of your favorite sports athletes, you don't know these people from a can of paint, but you do know that your fandom will allow you to believe things about people that you don't know.
Correct.
So that's just, like I said, it's just a very fine line that we as consumers and fans, it's just a line that we we have to toe. Never jump out the window for anybody that's not family. If you're jumping out the window for a professional athlete that you don't know, that will never know you exist, I don't want to be friends with you, respectfully.
Look, man, one thing that I will say, and I gotta go back to, this is months back. I said something on the show that I shouldn't have said when Kanye dropped his album, right? And Quan kind of got on me, and it's true. Like, now that I think back, like, I've been listening to a lot more of my Kanye albums, the older ones. Even if I don't agree or like a lot of his new stuff, it's art to different people in certain things. And he's found a way to create art and make it his own, right? And even though maybe not everyone agrees with it, he's found a way to find a platform where people can follow him, right? And follow his art, whether it's his clothing with Balenciaga, whether it's his shoes with Yeezy or with Adidas or any of that, or even his record deals with his albums, right? Or his concerts. He's found a way to do it his own, to where people still follow him and respect him. So as crazy as it sounds, I'm not jumping on the bandwagon. I don't think this is going to hurt him in the long run. Short term, like you said, yeah, you're going to see a lot of backlash. You're going to hear a lot of it from. But in the long run, I think he'll be all right. I don't see anything coming from it. Overall, I think that Adidas is probably going to hurt from it more because people were buying the shoes because of Yeezy, not because of Adidas.
Also, you remember this, like, with what they've done, they've basically said we're willing to lose $1 billion in the short term. Like that's the decision. If it's $250,000, like that you're eliminating and that you're expecting loss for the last quarter of the year, then yeah, they're pretty much, like, revenue wise, that decision will cost them $1 billion. There's no way around it. That's just the raw economics of it. No question. So by them making that decision, they know that and here's the thing, it's like, it's very difficult for Adidas to sell Yeezys without him being affiliated.
Yep, exactly.
You can keep the designs, right? You can keep the designs, but if he's not affiliated with the product, like, does it really hold value?
Means
To the
nothing.
consumer who was purchasing it because of him?
Absolutely
Again,
nothing.
Again, like I said, it comes down to one word and one word only: influence. And it's something, like I said, you don't get it overnight, and you can't lose it in a day. So that's my end part in regards to it. It comes down to influence, and that is what is the biggest separating factor for this particular situation than any that we've really seen.
All right, so look, we've come to our end of our little conversation here with Sosa. So we got to get your pick of the week, your guest pick of the week. We have our guy, Caleb Herring, former UNLV quarterback and UNLV play-by-play announcer now, waiting in the studio here shortly to jump on with us as well on the video line. So Sosa, again, I appreciate you. Plug away everything you want to plug before we get your final pick here moving forward, my guy. Thank you so much for joining us again.
Hey, man, Daily Bread Media, check me out. Sosa Locksmith on Twitter. New show out called Calling the Shots TV on Twitter. We do it on YouTube. It's basketball only. Yeah, it's pretty much it. Bang Bang Niner Gang.
Bang Bang Niner Gang.
That's you already know. I'm all day. I don't win, lose, draw. I'm rocking with my team. That ain't never changing.
Quan was on point
also,
with that.
Two things before I get out of here.
Yeah.
One, Bryce Harper, straight dog. You want to know about an athlete that got that dog in him? He
Worth
got that dog.
every bit of that contract.
There was no reason for him to come back this year. He could have sat out, got right. He rehabbed 2 major injuries in one season.
Yeah.
Came back for the playoffs and has been the best player in it. Shout out to Bryce Harper. Shout out to the Philadelphia Phillies. I hope they beat those cheaters. I'm a Dodger fan. That's never going to change.
So thank you. I'm glad you gave us your World Series pick there as well. But anyways, go ahead.
I'll never, ever in a million years cheer for the Astros. You crazy? Never in my life.
All right, so look. So
NFL.
Our picks of the week that we give out, we use scoresandodds.com, right? So whatever you give me, I'll let you know what's on the odds here. So what you got, my man? What you want to give us for the week?
Listen, I'm on the Raiders all season.
Oh.
Okay, they started off slow.
Okay.
I know that. They also were have been the most unlucky team in football. If you actually look at the play and look at how they've lost games, they've been the most unlucky team in the entire NFL. New coach, they took them a little while. I feel like they're clicking. I like the Raiders this week. Give me the Raiders to win the game by a touchdown plus. They're 1.5-point dogs on the road at New Orleans. The dome is not what it was. Sean Payton's not pulling up. He's not coming through that door. Neither is Drew Brees. That ain't happening. They're not pulling up. All right? Sorry to break the news to Saints fans, but it's not looking good. It's looking pretty bad.
I'm looking at Raiders minus 1.5 on my end. I'm not looking at Raiders as a dog. I'm looking at them at minus 1.5.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. They're minus 1.5 is their favorites. They're 1.5-point favorites.
Okay, so Sosa's got the Raiders minus 1.5, but bless us with your alternate spread.
The alternate spread, Raiders minus 6.5. Hold on, let me get the right.
Can somebody write this down? Can somebody write this down?
Minus 6.5 is plus 180.
Okay.
Yeah, bro, listen.
So there we go. Raiders minus 1.5 for the regular pick. And then his sprinkle on the extra pick is the Raiders minus 6.5 at plus 180.
Yes, sir.
My man.
Listen, y'all are in Vegas. I know neither of you are Raider fans, but I'm telling you right now, dude, bro, by Thanksgiving, people will care about the Raiders again. Like they're not that far off from being a really, really good football team. They got weapons out of the system, out of this world. Their quarterback's not incompetent. It took them a little minute to learn the system, and they got a run game now.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
And an easy schedule.
I always say Oakland. Listen, the Vegas Raiders. I'm rocking with them the rest of the year.
They got an easy schedule, and I think that's what's going to make them good and probably make the playoffs.
Help them
Their
out.
schedule's
I still don't believe
weak.
in McDaniel though. That's really where it comes down.
My guy, I appreciate you as always. Hey, last minute as always. I hit this dude up at 6 a.m. my time, 9 o'clock his time. He's like, my bad, I just saw this. What time? We're doing it. Appreciate you, my guy. Keep doing what you're doing. I'll follow you. You know that. Follow this man if you have not already done so. Appreciate you. But
Always.
Let's get into our next guest. He's already waiting for us. We already had him on the line, so we appreciate his time. Real quick, our guy Jay Madrazos is in the studio. Welcome back. We appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
wearing the wrong sweater though, because his team already lost in the Champions
Can
League.
see it.
But anyways,
Biggest team in Europe.
let's get our guy on real quick. This was also last minute, so I appreciate him. I've been trying to get him on the show, but around this time, he's normally doing the coaches show for the UNLV football head coach, the coach Marcus Arroyo head coaches show on ESPN. But he has some time today with us. They are on a bye week. He is none other than former UNLV Rebel quarterback and voice of the Rebels here in Las Vegas, Caleb Herring. Caleb, my man, I appreciate you. How you doing today?
Caleb?
Hey man, what's up? It's all up, man. Appreciate you having me. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate you.
Last time we had you on, you were in studio, so it's a bit different here. Hopefully, next time we get you on, we'll get you on after the season because I know you won't be caught up with the UNLV stuff there, but we can get you back in studio, man. But I heard you on the way in. I was listening to you on Cofield and Company. Big shout out to those guys as well. You know, I know them. I give them props all the time. Listen to them, and you guys are always doing good stuff there. So I'm like, I got to get Caleb on to talk UNLV. I got to get the person that's there at every single game, right? The person that knows this team for like the back of his hand, but this team started off hot, Caleb. You know what I mean? Aspirations there, you know, looking really, really good. And then we lose some games there. Obviously, we know the injury bug hit us on the offensive side of the ball a little bit there with the defense as well. You got some of the playmakers out, but we're getting some of these guys back. These guys are going to be healthy. The bye week is here. Coming back from Notre Dame, what did you see from the team being able to visit that type of environment and what you saw there? And what do you feel we're going to see moving forward for the second half of the season?
Well, I think you touched on it. Is we're going to see healthy. I mean, that's the number one thing. We're going to see the guys that were actually a part of the 4-game start, the 4-game winning streak. I guess to start the season off. It actually was 3 games, but we're going to see those guys back. That's the biggest thing. Is going to be having Doug Brumfield back. Aiden Robbins at running back is questionable, but we'll see. He's looking like he's going to make his turn. Guys on the defensive side of the ball, Eli Hemery didn't play against Notre Dame. Big time playmakers. Ricky Johnson on it in the secondary. We're not sure exactly when, but the health is going to start to come back. That's the number one thing. And I think because of that, you're going to start to see more competitive games. Now, coming into the season, we understood that it was important for UNLV to get off to a good start, to keep all their goals on the goal board, bowl games, conference titles, and being in contention for those kind of things. It was going to come down to coming out with a hot start and taking care of the non-conference schedule. I know not a lot of people looked at it and said, you know, hey, Cal, Notre Dame, not really expecting or anticipating victories coming out of those venues. But the other two, Idaho State and North Texas, were really important games on the schedule, along with the rest of the early games, to make sure you get off to a hot start because they're in the meat of their schedule. This part of the schedule we knew would be a gauntlet, starting with Air Force and going up, obviously, to Notre Dame was going to be a tough game. And then after the bye, there's San Diego State and Fresno State, who are always top dogs in the conference. So this stretch of game was always going to be hard regardless. I think coming out of it a little bit more healthy would have been better. But it just makes the end of the season a lot more interesting, right? They're searching basically for postseason play, 2 more wins on the schedule. And it's tough sledding. I mean, you took care of business early. You're in the midsection. Hopefully you can maybe sneak one of these next 2 out. But then looking towards the end of the season at Hawaii and Reno as the 2 really winnable games of the season to get you back to the postseason for the first time in quite some time. So that's I think what we can look forward to. And they're hopefully going to get healthy right at the right time to finish the season strong. This low right now sucks, but honestly, looking up as a fan, you got to be objective about it and say, hey, you know what? We're still at 500. It's still a good spot based on how the season started. And I think looking at the level of competition over the last few weeks, you understand with the injuries how this stretch of games has been tough for UNLV. But I think they finish strong once they're healthy. And it's clear that they're a different team when when they got all their bullets in the gun.
I see 2 things that kind of go hand in hand here. And what I mean by that is I see the fans finally backing this team and supporting this team and showing up and believing in this team and what they're seeing on the field and knowing that it's not a fluke, that this is actually a new era and that they're turning the page. But I also see that from the players, Caleb. I'm on the field. I get to watch this team when bad plays happen. I'm on the sideline. I like to be there instead of the press box. You know what I mean? Thankful to have that access. But seeing the body language more than anything, from what I've seen when the Coach Arroyo era started, it's completely different. Even on a play where they do a turnover or it just 3 and out or it didn't work out, you don't see these guys coming off the sideline and looking down like, here we go again. Oh, it's not looking good. Like, it's just like it's another play. Let's move forward. Let's go on. I see a whole different attitude. Would you agree about that when it comes to the fans and the team itself with the way that they're following Marcus Arroyo now?
I think with the players for sure, there's been a switch that's been flipped, and it's kind of a transitional period, and it's often referred to as the culture of the team, and that's kind of what it feels like. But it comes from the fact that, like you said, it's not a fluke. And I think because they have a foundation and understand the work that goes into winning and the things that produce winning, the things that produce competitive games and success and et cetera, I think there was a process of learning for the guys that are now the seniors and the big dogs in the locker room, where they were here for the 0-6 season. They were here for the season where they only won 2 games, but every game over and over again, they were in position to win. And now they've been here for the early portion of the season when you actually get to win and enjoy the success. So they've gone full scale on the pendulum, I guess. And now they have a different kind of belief in what they're doing. And that's the most important thing. Some teams win and you could see like, oh, they got lucky. They have bad habits and things like that. They started winning and they got to the point where they won games by adhering to the structure of, Coach Arroyo's coaching staff and how they have imparted winning wisdom to them. And so I think it's easier for them now to buy in, like you said, in those tough situations, instead of turning tail and saying, oh, same old Rebels. It's more, let's go. We can bounce back. We know what we have to do to get back in this. On the other hand, I think the fans are a little bit more hesitant. And I will say that the support has been much better this year. And winning has a lot to do with that, as everybody knows. There was a really cool moment I just highlighted in the Air Force game when the anticipation, they're coming off of, 4-2 start, or 4-1 start. This is going to be the first home game that they've had with a winning team. They're sitting on top, tied with San Jose State for the top of the conference. The home fans are excited to see, their team. And there was a cool moment before kickoff. They did a T-shirt giveaway, 24,000 fans standing on their feet before kickoff, waving white towels around their head. And it's a scene that I've never seen from UNLV before, whether Sam Boyd or Legion. I haven't seen that. So the fan support has definitely risen, and it's risen to the occasion. And almost it was at that point of anticipation for the corner finally being turned for UNLV. Unfortunately, the game at Air Force went the way it did, and it kind of let the air out of the building a little bit. So you wonder now, you haven't had a chance yet to see how the fan base reacts now to that loss and then to the loss at Notre Dame. The support, if we want it to be the same as it was before these 2 last games, hopefully the fans come back out and they're just as enthusiastic. The next time they'll see them is against Fresno State, which is a few weeks away still. So hopefully the enthusiasm is still there. And a lot of that will be dependent on, I think, how UNLV comes out of this bye, how healthy they are. If they're able to come out of San Diego with a win, then the home fans will, I think, show up again. But it's tough. And you understand in Vegas, now it's an official sports town. I don't care what anybody says. Yep. Nationwide, you won't find many other towns with as much access to sports entertainment as Las Vegas. You're not going to find it. The Raiders coming into form, the Knights now kicking off their season, the Aces coming off a championship.
Yes, sir.
There's so much going on in Vegas right now that it's hard for fans to donate essentially their time and money to everything. So against that competition, winning is priority. So I think as they continue to win, if they continue to win this season, I think the fan support will match the belief that the players have on the sideline.
4 more games for UNLV, 2 on the road, 2 at home, like Caleb said, 1 against Fresno State, 1 against Nevada. I know the records don't show, the greatest, overall, but they're still tough games. Nevada, obviously. I'm sorry.
You said Nevada.
I'm sorry. I keep forgetting. Let me get that right. Reno and Fresno State, still 2 tough teams to play regardless in the division. We know that. So we'll see what UNLV can do there in those 2 games. But my question for you is, obviously, we know we hear it all the time. You are the last UNLV quarterback to take the Rebels to a bowl game. How excited are you for Doug, knowing that he now has that opportunity to be the next guy to take over and say, hey, I'm here now. I took them to a bowl game. Let's make this a tradition every year now, not just every 10, 15, or whatever it may be years.
I'm really excited for Doug. I'm really excited for him individually. There's a couple reasons for that. I think his play is very, I would actually not compare him to me as far as how he plays on the field. And fans of Rebel history probably have already made this comparison, but he's just like Randall Cunningham. His build, his wiriness, his play style, the things he does for the team, and he hasn't punted yet, which Randall Cunningham could do. But he's in that as far as his athletic ability. That's where I would compare him to. I'm more recent, so I get it. And I've had the more recent success just because of time. But he's not only winning games, he's doing it in a very efficient way. Before the injury, he had a 70% completion percentage, which is very hard to do. Like that's an accomplishment in its own. He was one of the top 15 PFF performers for college quarterbacks on the season, and that's putting UNLV on the map in a national way, which is something that I can appreciate. He almost broke another record of mine at UNLV, which the most efficient single game passing in school history. He literally had the same amount of incompletions, just didn't have as many attempts. So that record would have been broken if nice. if he, and I think he's on track to break that eventually. The most exciting thing about it is because of the COVID year, because he redshirted, we forget, and because his name has been around the program so long, we forget that he's so young and he has so much time left after this year.
Yeah.
And so much room to improve on what he's already doing now. I think is with the COVID year and the eligibility stuff, I'm not sure. He has 3 more years technically of eligibility left. So that is, to me, that crazy. Not only do I have the confidence that he's good right now, he's good enough to do it now and to get into a bowl game, but it sets up for future success if he stays around to his full extent of his eligibility for UNLV for the next 3 or 4 years to build around him and continue to be good and establish a real tradition of winning, making it to the postseason, galvanizing the community around UNLV football. And I think that's the more exciting thing for him individually. And then with that, of course, him being the focus of that and the focus of that success, there's all kinds of opportunities for the NIL and things like that for him in this city to be the first college player to really capitalize on that and be the name of the brand of UNLV, the face behind the brand. That I think that's exciting to look at the prospects of that. And I'm hopeful for him. And as I would be for any player in his situation, I'm always, player first guy. For him to be on the cusp of that and have the potential to achieve that is really exciting. And fans of UNLV should be excited for what that could look like behind Doug Brumfield.
Caleb Herring, former UNLV quarterback, joining us here live on Straight Bet Sports on Gorilla Cross Radio. He is now the voice of the Rebels. Final thought here, Caleb. When you started being the voice of this team and doing the play-by-play and jumping in the booth, it wasn't the team we've seen this year. Walk us through day one and now where you're at, especially after now being at Notre Dame and having that experience as well.
Yeah, it's been a fun ride for me, and there's been transitions for sure. Coaching staff when I started, Tony Sanchez was the head coach. It's amazing to see the differences, and we won't say better or worse because I don't want to get into that comparison, but the differences between each system and structure of a coaching staff, not personality-wise, recruiting-wise, coaching style, all of that. It's been amazing to watch UNLV kind of go through that transition from my position in the booth, and being able to call it and have sort of an intimate relationship with the team has been great for me. It's been fun to stay around football. Obviously, that's the dream, is to play football and make it to the NFL or whatever. But to be able to stay around sports and be around young men that are trying to figure it out and just kind of watch and observe. I'm a fly on the wall. I'm not giving advice. I'm not in the locker room, telling them what to do. But just being around it is something that I enjoyed very much. And getting insight and learning football still is, I know Coach Arroyo has one of the, at least as far as I've been around, he has an outstanding mind for the game. And being around him and having discussions with him weekly and those kind of things, I'm still consider myself a student of the game. So that's always been fun. UNLV has grown so much and they're taking tremendous strides, which is unique in a team that hasn't necessarily done it with wins and losses. But for, the community support that they got to get Fertitta, to get Allegiant, the Raiders coming in, there's so much that there's leaps and bounds that they've taken since my time playing there. And they've taken them while I've been able to watch. So I've kind of appreciated that. Then you get to go to venues like Cal and Notre Dame and thank my lucky stars. These are bucket list things. Going to Notre Dame's campus and being able to, as somebody who grew up as a fan of college football, SC fan. So there was a rivalry with Notre Dame, but you appreciate the history of moments like that. And I'm so grateful for those opportunities, again, to be around a game I love and to be able to broadcast it and impact in any way I can the Rebel fan base, the student athletes that I encounter is really special to me. And I think UNLV is trending in the right direction. I'm proud and happy to be a part of that. And I'm excited for where we go from here. it's been a long time, but the fans that have been patient have rode with us since day one. UNLV is on the cusp. Like I said, you can hear it from me on radio with ESPN, and it's been a dream. I'm like walking in a dreamland, I guess, being able to experience this with my alma mater and hopefully watching my alma mater break some of my records as we keep going.
Caleb, man, I greatly appreciate you joining us here on the show today. I know it was last minute, like I said, but I hit you up. You didn't hesitate. It just so happened, like I said, I was listening on the radio. So again, my man, I greatly appreciate you giving us a few moments of your time. Let everyone know where they can find you out there on all social media moving forward.
Always, bro. I appreciate you. Anytime you need me, I'm there. But they can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, at Caleb Herring _ Yeah, there's an imposter out there with my name, so I had to add an underscore. You can find UNLV All Access podcast. That's a podcast I do on Thursdays. We're dropping one here tomorrow about UNLV and the inside scoop on PFF ratings, where the team's going, access from information details that we get in practice. So the UNLV All Access podcast. You can type that in on Twitter or anywhere you get your major podcast from, and give it a listen. ESPN 1100 is where the games are broadcast live on ESPN FM, AM. You want to listen to that, listen to the games, catch up.
The coaches show you got?
Absolutely. Coaches show, Marcus Arroyo coaches show, weekly coaches show during the season, 6 p.m. on the same station. A weekly guest with my own spot on Wednesdays with Cofield and Company as a football analyst. There's a lot of places now I'm trying to grow out and expand the audience that I reach. So also right here with you, my game, Straight Bet Sports. When you need me, I'm there. Also willing to be here and contribute to the show in any way. So it's going to be fun. You can reach me on those places and keep listening, man, because there's going to be good stuff coming.
Caleb Herring, greatly appreciate you, my brother. Be safe. Take care of the family, and we'll talk soon.
Same, brother.
Appreciate you.
Peace. Good stuff, man. I know it was last minute, but we ended up making a good show today. Let's be honest. We're coming towards the end. We're going to give our picks here shortly. We got our guy, Jay Madrazos, in the studio, so I got to give 60 seconds of soccer. Real quick. Give me your thoughts.
We're going to talk a little bit.
Real Madrid loses, even though you have the sweater on. They lost.
No.
They lost the
Union. I'm talking about Union, man.
Hold on. And Barcelona, Barca, which they've turned a page and a bad page here. They're out of the USL now. 60 seconds. Give us your thoughts on both games. Is Real Madrid in trouble, and how much trouble is Barca in?
No, definitely Real Madrid is in a lot of trouble. That just gives us gives them, I should say, a red flag to buy a striker. We are relying on the best player in the world, Karim Benzema. He's already at the
Ballon d'Or.
I believe he's like 34 to 36 years old. That just goes to show you that the younger players that we have definitely put in work, but not the experience as Benzema. Now Barcelona, it's time to let go of Xavi. That philosophy, I get it. They want to keep the same, but not even Piqué is playing. It's time to revamp the whole team up. That just the second year going in the Europa League, it's unfortunate to see.
They're living in the past, bro.
Living in the past.
If you think about it.
Yeah, it is, and it's a great philosophy. Don't get me, it comes from Johan Cruyff and everything, but it's a modern game. Bayern clearly have been destroying them for the past 2-3 years in the Champions League, and everybody else has. And in the Clásico, they looked horrible. So it's definitely time for them to revamp the team.
Last one, real quick. World Cup is right around the corner. If I had to put a gun to your head right now and tell you who is the World Cup winner when it's all said and done, 5, 4,
Brazil
3,
and Argentina.
2. Okay, Brazil, Argentina in the final. Remember that. We're gonna cut it. We're gonna save it, or one of those two winning it all. But I appreciate you, my guy. I know it was last minute, but you come in, you always hang out with us. We try to do more with this guy, but we gotta find a way to. Hey, boss, you listening, man? Don't let it work past a certain time.
Not in the same league, but we do have to mention Philadelphia Union. Right now, it's we're all high on Philly. We got Union going in. They have the last qualifier, I believe, and then after that, if they make it, then you have the Cup. But in between that, you have the World Series, you have the Eagles game, who they're undefeated right now,
crazy.
And then you have the Thursday. You even have Thursday night in Houston with the Astros and all of that playing. It's crazy time in Philly right now.
Yeah, right. You guys are having a good time out there right now.
Three different major sporting leagues that are on top of the game right now.
So we got about 5 more minutes. I'll give you 60 seconds real quick because you're a Philly fan. How excited are you about the Philadelphia Phillies being in the World Series? I'll tell you before you go, I think they win it all. They're hot, they're healthy, they have everyone there, and they have nothing to lose.
So I said at the beginning of the year, I thought that if they clicked the way that we paid them to, because we went over the luxury tax, right, in the offseason. So I said that they could be special. When Bryce went out and we fired Girardi, I didn't see it. And so I am beyond ecstatic and excited that they were able to pull together under the new manager, Rob Thompson, and he's basically fixed the team. This team is playing with juice. They're playing for each other. They're playing for Philly, and it's exciting to watch, man. We haven't won a playoff game in 11 years, so the fact that we won our first one and then we kept on winning, and I agree. I tend to think the Astros are definitely a better team, but I think that if any team was going to knock them off right now, it's definitely the Phillies, especially with being how hot they are and how hot Harper is.
Rob Thompson, man, definitely manager of the year in either division, either league, American or national, for being honest. Overall, I just think the fact that you fire the guy and Joe Girardi at that point, the team wasn't gelling. You had a lot of injuries. I get that, but he just couldn't figure it out. And then a guy like Rob Thompson that had never been a manager, only been a coach. That's it. With the Yankees and then with the Phillies, that was it. Never had that opportunity, not even in the minor leagues. For him to just come in and be the intern and run this and turn this around, Jack McKeon, the last guy to do it with the Florida Marlins back in the day, it's amazing to watch, bro. And I love it. And here's the thing, again, they are healthy at the right time. Only person I care about on the Astros if they win it would be Dusty Baker, only manager that have so many wins and make it to so many postseasons and ALCSs and NLCSs without winning one is him. So he'd be the only person I'd be happy for.
Yeah.
I don't care about anybody else on that roster or organization, ownership, top to bottom. But I would want the Phillies because also the Vegas connection. You got Bryson Stott. You have Bryce Harper, which I think Bryce Harper winning this would silence and just quiet all the critics. All the people that said he took the money, he got the big contract, he hasn't done anything. Granted, I'm not saying he's winning this World Series for the Phillies, but it would change it and quiet everyone 100%.
He's having one of the best postseasons ever.
He's not, but
like, if you look at it,
and big shout out to Evan Guerra, our guy, Evan Guerra. He mentioned it, a guy that's not even being talked about because he probably would have won the NLCS MVP if it wasn't for Bryce Hoyt in that home run. Royce Hoskins, that guy is on fire right now too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So
and he tends to get hot at the right times.
Friday,
it's really.
It all starts Friday. Your team in the NFL 6-0. Your Phillies are in their World Series, my guy. Congrats.
My birthday on Sunday.
NHL hockey just started. But we're at the end of the show.
With the World Series.
We got to give our picks, man. So Chris, big shout out to our guy. Chris Wynn was in the studio last week with me and did the show again. He's now 1-1. He had the Ravens at -6. They did not cover. They won. And then we had our guest picks, Tom Barton of Tom Barton Sports. He had the Titans. They covered over the Colts, which now benched Matt Ryan. And we're going to see Sam Ehlinger. And he had Princeton and the Harvard game over. I saw that at 47 and pushed, landed right at a 47. So our guest picks are now 5-0-1. I had the Commanders over the Packers. That was a fun game to watch. Packers lost. Being a money line dog for the Commanders at home outright, that puts me at 3-4. And Ian had the Falcons, which I almost jumped on that. But the fact that Ian took them first, I backed out of it. He is now 2-5. The Falcons did not cover that game, first game of the season that they do not cover. But one thing I got to say before I throw that out there, it was a small ticket. I know it was. I should have put more money on it. A friend of mine said, what a waste. You should have put more money. But I had the Panthers beating the Bucks last week, plus 500. I had the Commanders plus 170, and I had the Giants beating the Jaguars at plus 130. Good little small ticket. You hit them from time to time. Nothing crazy. I didn't win that much money. $3, $4, $5 bet, whatever it was. But, man, some of these dogs, you can catch them at the right time. That's what I'm trying to get to. I'm not talking about how much money I bet or how much I won, but if you follow certain home dogs or certain dogs in certain positions, you can hit. The Bucs are in turmoil right now. Everything going on with Tom Brady. And I'm sorry, Todd Bowles is not a head coach.
We said that before. We said that last year, remember?
We've all said it. The guy should be a coordinator and is being proven now. I understand Tom Brady's going through a lot, but it is what it is. But Ian, we already have
Brady
the pick.
looks like he lost 75 pounds. He looks like a crack addict. he looks sick.
Well, so
he does not look the same at all from 6 months ago.
Talking about look, can you put the camera? I got to give a shout out to what you're wearing. You can't show the shirt.
I look like a crack addict too.
No, you don't. Why? Because you lost.
No, I look good.
Big shout out to our guy Mike Dixon, though, man. He's wearing the gear. He's wearing the shirt. I had it on
Mike
the other
Davis.
day. Mike Davis.
No,
I'm
Mike
sorry.
Dixon. That's the guy that
That's another friend of
unfollowed
ours.
me on Facebook.
It's like the third name.
Talk about that.
And on all social media.
We want to talk
Shout
about
out
that.
to Mike Dixon.
Big shout out.
Shout
But
out to
anyways,
Mike Davis, man.
so yeah, Sosa. Where was Sosa at? Let's see. Sosa said take the Raiders at -1.5. That's his regular pick of the week, right? For our guest picks here, which are now 5-0-1. But he also said if you could find it, take the Raiders at -6.5 plus 180 alternate spread. My guy, you got to try to find a way to float. I'm almost at that 500.
Yeah,
you got to float there. Where you
I'll
at?
bounce back.
Float
But so you're taking them Buccaneers, right?
No, I didn't take a
sorry,
pick
you're
yet.
taking them Ravens +1.
I haven't taken anything yet.
Oh well, you're talking about the like home dogs and stuff.
No,
I thought
he
I
took
thought
the
you were-
Raiders.
I know, but I thought you were talking about like the Ravens and underdog and stuff like that. No.
30 seconds.
Okay.
30 seconds.
All right.
Thank you, Quan.
All right. I like the Seahawks here against the Giants. They're at home. It's -3.
Quan shaking his head. I
Everyone
love it.
is on the Giants, but so a lot of things that the Giants do is they play let's not beat ourselves ball. The Seahawks have also been playing that type of ball, and they've been far more explosive in my mind. So I think Seahawks win at home here.
You got the Seahawks -3 against the Giants?
-3 against the Giants, yeah.
All right, cool. So I was going to go with another team, but then I said, nah, there's no way I can do that. I'm going to take a risk here. I'm taking the Philadelphia Eagles at -10.5 at home against the Steelers. Steeler fans, you asked for it, and I tweeted it out the minute it happened against my New York Jets. Be careful what you wish for. You asked for Kenny Pickett. You have the guy. It's not working. I'm sorry. Tomlin, you've had a great run. It's been nice. It's been fun. But you no longer have a Hall of Fame quarterback there to save you anymore. I'm sorry. It is what it is. You are no longer.
Are
gonna
you
be
calling
that
for
guy.
Tomlin's job? That's what I'm not even.
I'm
I
just
was like,
saying.
the guy
I'm
has
just
18 winning
saying.
records,
I'm
man.
just
What are you saying here?
Pittsburgh Steelers fans, be careful what you wish for.
And Roethlisberger
You
was not a
wished
Hall of
for
Fame
it.
quarterback the last 4
Well,
years.
he's going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback regardless.
He sucked the last
But what
year.
I'm
He
saying
has,
is Big
yeah.
Ben Worthlessberger, as I like to call him. But long story short,
Pickett's not doing
Kenny
bad
Pickett is not
considering
doing
the
bad,
circumstance.
but he's also not the savior.
Dude's
and the guy
throwing
that
away
you
a rookie
expected.
quarterback in week 7.
Week 7 in a banged up O-line
Listen
with
to me.
rookie weapons.
Jesus. La, la, la.
Man.
And I'm not disagreeing
No
with you
run
guys.
game.
But what I'm saying is, Steeler fans, be careful what you. They wish for
It's
this.
better than
They
Trubisky.
want it.
It still is.
I don't know about that. But anyways, give me the Philadelphia Eagles, your Philadelphia Eagles, at -10.5, going to 7-0, covering that spread. It's a big spread. I know what it is. A lot of money being bet on them right now. It's still early. But Ian, one more thought before we go, man. Get it going.
Well, it's my birthday on Sunday, so they better win, man.
Woo! There it is. Philadelphia Eagles,
you know,
if you're listening, Jalen
every
Hurts.
year, like,
this
it seems
guy
like
did
it's
not
a
believe
major
in you,
game
and
close
he
to my
believes in you
birthday,
now.
so, man.
Please get a touchdown for his birthday, and if he looks up, that means it's for Ian. All right, remember that.
Wow, this
Final
guy.
thought. What you got? What you got, Jay?
I always go with the just because we were talking about them, the Buccaneers.
Okay, cool. There we go.
Buccaneers.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Tampa Bay.
That's what
So
he's
you're
got.
going with the favorites.
Tomorrow,
with the favorites.
he's got the Bucks -1, but it is what it is, man. We come to the end of the show. My final thoughts, man. The Vegas Golden Knights have started 6-2. Phil Kessel becomes the Iron Man of the NHL, playing the most consecutive games as any player has done so. He finally gets his first NHL goal with the Golden Knights last night. I had Marshall show, man. I wish he would have scored a goal. I had a prop bet on him. He didn't do it. But look, a lot of people are saying, is it a product of Bruce Cassidy coming in and changing things around? Is it a product of the schedule? Is it too soon? Is it too early to call with this team? Are they finally back on the verge of being the playoff team that we've known to love? I think this team is in a good position. I think this team is in the right track. I like Bruce Cassidy. I like his experience. I like what he brings. And I think the culture is changing. He's finding a way to use the lines to the way that he feels it fits best. Phil Kessel hasn't done much, if we're being honest with you, when it comes to the statistics, but he's done enough quietly overall to where the Golden Knights are still looking great. They're still looking good. I think the Knights will be a playoff team again this year. Not going to say championship, not going to throw any bad juju or anything like that, but I think the Knights are in a good position right now. Golden Knight fans, whether you're a hockey fan or a Golden Knights fans, chill out. Enjoy it. Keep following this team. Keep respecting this team. Keep enjoying what they're bringing, man. Now, next week, we got our guy Max Ornelas coming into the studio. He's got a fight this weekend. Please check him out. It'll be live on DAZN. If you have the app, pull up the app on Saturday. Max Ornelas, he will be fighting on the undercard. Check him out. That's our guy. He'll be in studio next week after that. And not only that, Mike Davis, our guy, Vegas Nighthawks, this weekend, Heritage Park. They got their tryouts. Go check them out.
I'm going to try out.
There you go. Hey, Quaz already got the shirt on. He's ready to go. But Jose V, EMB, Jay Madrazos,
Yes, sir.
our guy Caleb Herring, our guy Sosa, Quan59 behind the big board, and our sponsor. You already know who it is. I don't got to tell you again. Eric Navarro. So then we are out. Jose V, Straight Bet Sports. Peace.
Later.